If we can just learn, make progress for today, if we can just keep moving forward, if we can learn something incrementally new that's helping us to achieve our goal.
I don't know when it was, but there was a time where you could just go to school, graduate, and you're good to go. And you're like, that's that's the end point of education. And yeah, you might have some professional learning and you're forced to have some credits because you have a license you got to maintain. But there wasn't this like demand side of you don't have a choice. You have to keep learning. It is, in my opinion, it used to be a choice. And I don't think it was that long ago. I think if you want to get an MBA or get a master's or a PhD, you could get some career advancement, you could get a pay raise and stuff like that. But at this point, if you're not integrating the learning function almost as though you are still back in school, uh, I don't know about anybody else, but I have this feeling like I could be left behind. Like, it is kind of crazy that Peter Steinberger, who's the creator of Claudebot, went on his existential walk for I think it was 3 years, and then he came back. He like had no computer. He had sold a successful company, disappeared for 3 years, shows up in November, and Claude Code had been invented. Like that was his first like interaction with computer and technology after having disappeared. And by pure like I don't know what it is, creative genius, he comes up with this framework. It's so simple. This is the thing with hindsight. You're like, well, that was obvious, and then you're like, but it wasn't done, and he was able to do that. Learning is something that we have a book of the month. We've got class on Wednesdays. We do all these things, and like you said, when we come back home, whether it's family and friends, we're exhausted. We've got other things to do. I want to go see my kids do their theater and their other events and stuff like that. How do we deal with just never ending school? I don't know about you, but I had a miserable experience because I was an entrepreneur at Georgia Tech. It was a nightmare. That's a whole nother conversation. But I remember I had Tuesday, Thursday lab. It was 4 hour lab and no one could get it done in the 4 hours. And then the number of nights, I'm sure some of you have experienced where you are not done when sunrise hits the next day and you're just grinding it out. Has anybody else had that experience? Yeah, a few of us have, right? Well, I'm like thinking at this point, I was like, oh shit, I think we might be back there where the learning function of, hey, there's an exam coming on Friday is actually, to some degree, am I going to be able to have a job or not? And if I don't study my ass off, I don't know about some of your schools, but if you would get like a C or lower in core curriculum at Tech, you fail that program and you have to redo it. And I kind of feel like a lot of companies are feeling like this, and a lot of I think individuals, at least I am. I don't know about everybody else, but are feeling like, hey, how do I balance all this stuff? And at the same time, how do I not have a panic attack? How do I not get stressed out? As I'm seeing, we made it, I was telling about January numbers for tech industry was 100 and I think 6,000 people that were terminated. And I see ourselves as a technology company, an innovation company. And I like to be transparent about this stuff. I think there's a lot of fear in the marketplace about this. Again, how do we not have a panic attack? How do we know that we implement education and constant learning, but still balance our life at the same point? Is this possible?
Yeah, fear is the silent killer. I mean, it's not going to help us grow. So how do we balance that? Uh, a lot of my work today is more. I feel like I'm playing therapist sometimes because people are really having serious breakdowns when not serious, but um, when they're honest, when they're not, talking to their peers, their boss, their board, they're like, I'm really struggling with this. How do we move forward? There was a tweet by a engineer from Tesla and then OpenAI, Andre
Hard
Karpathy.
copy.
Yeah, Karpathy. And he had said basically, you know, and he's like a what I would consider like a brilliant AI research programmer. And he's like, I feel so overwhelmed. There's a whole new abstraction layer for what to do. And he's like, it's time to roll up our sleeves, essentially. So even the best of the best, like what helps me sleep at night or what I can help offer people I work with is just saying, you know, there is no end state to achieve, that it is unknowable. No one is going to, even the smartest, most genius, old school or whatever AI researchers I've ever met, they still will quickly admit they can't know everything. And so if we can just accept that reality that we are not going to learn everything all the time, but if we can just learn, make progress for today, if we can just keep moving forward, if we can learn something incrementally new that's helping us to achieve our goal, that's that's incredible. Um, but it is really overwhelming, and I think that's not talked about enough because the stress is real. There's clearly a lot that's been designed to grab our attention and distract us from things that matter. And so when it comes time to work and trying to learn new ways of work, uh, it's okay to talk about it. I think that that's okay to say, you know, I haven't figured this out. I'm still working on it. Maybe I don't need to, but uh, you know, where I've seen it help is that when people look around and others are starting, there's some like psychological safety of saying, we don't have it all figured out, but those are the healthiest cultures and environments for change and growth is when they can admit it. When they are doing the false face and the big corporate with all the political and the quarterly reports, like that is just a recipe for abject failure. It's not gonna, they can't move forward because of the front that they have to put on, that they have confidence what they're doing.